or I should say, dear members of Congress, this is an open letter to you. Stop your bickering. You need to start working as a bipartisan group to represent the people of the United States. You need to have the government function correctly. You need to pass a budget. And I would much prefer a balanced budget. Work on getting that deficit knocked down instead of adding to it. And don't just tell me it's the Democrats trying to add to it. It's also you Republicans. Don't tell me it's just Republicans, stonewalling you Democrats. You are all guilty. All 535 of you are guilty of this. What I don't understand is why. Oh, no, wait, I do understand. You have your groups, your special interest groups, your lobby groups that you have to cater to because otherwise they won't give you money for re-election. How about instead of worrying about those people, you worry about the rest of us Americans, the people who work hard to pay our taxes, the ones who honestly do hard work to pay the taxes so we can fund the government that you're supposed to run. But no, you just sit there and bicker over petty, absolutely petty things. I'm just flabbergasted by this. Yes, there are some real concerns in the House and Senate that you are working on, and I get that. But you argue pettily over the littlest details of those things. Was he wearing a black tie at this affair, or was he wearing a blue tie? Or was it a dark blue or navy blue? Not that that's an actual example. I'm just using a general example of what you're doing. That you are actually squabbling over the minutia that doesn't need to be squabbled over. What you need to do is you need to work together to solve problems. Hence why in the description of this video, I use hashtag no labels. I don't agree with everything that they promote at the No Labels group, but I agree with a good chunk of it. We need you, yes, you, members of Congress, and I specifically speak to my representatives, Denny Heck, Maria Cantwell, Patty Murray. If you want my vote going forward, you are going to work on a bipartisan level with everybody. This is not open for negotiation. This is not okay. And for all the rest of you members of Congress, who I doubt will even see this, I doubt even my representatives will look at this, but I'm going to make sure they get the link via every means possible thing. And the American people as if we are pawns in a game. You are messing with our livelihood by not allowing us to have services available that we need to have. You're messing with things that we deserve to have. The government shutdown, that helps nobody at all. Doesn't help you, doesn't help us. It doesn't help anybody. I'm a veteran. A government shutdown means that my brothers and sisters don't get paid. Now, USAA has stepped up. I don't know if anybody else has, as far as banks go, to basically front them the money to say, hey, if this lasts till the 1st or even the 15th of next month, we're going to cover your paychecks. And when your paychecks come in, we'll take it. That is perfectly fine, but they shouldn't have to do that. A bank should not have to do that. You guys just, you don't seem to get it. You're more worried about your corporate buddies. You're more worried about the people who fund your campaigns than you are about your average Joe Schmo people. I would love to sit down and talk with Denny Heck. I would love to sit down and talk with Patty Murray. I would love to sit down and talk with Maria Cantwell, who, by the way, I know is not running for re-election this year. If I had the money, I would run for her spot in the Senate. If I had the funds to do it, I would. Just because I don't like the way you guys are representing us. I don't like the way that you guys, as a whole, all 535 of you, are trying to represent the American people by squabbling over little things. by saying, "Oh, well, so and so did this, so that means you have to be held accountable for this too." And just I follow politics because I enjoy politics. I love doing a little commentary on it. I haven't been as busy with it as much as I would like to, but that's about to change. Even if I have to do ad hoc videos like this, where I don't even have a script in front of me, where I don't even get research what I want to talk about. I'm just so frustrated with this. Yes, now I know if the government shut down, you guys almost all unanimously vote to pay the employees while they were gone because of your ineffectiveness. But since I've been an adult, I think we've had more government shutdowns than the entire time we've been, than the entire time I've been alive. What the heck? Why can't you pull your heads out of your collective butts and see that you're doing more harm for your country than you are good by arguing and bickering to the end over petty, petty details? Learn. I may not be the most financially sound person in the world. I will admit that. But you guys are supposed to be. You're supposed to be able to look at a bill and say, how much is this going to set us back as a country? Is there a way that we can offset that? I know there are social programs out there that we don't need to have. There are things that we do need to have. What you guys call the Obama phone bill was actually started by Reagan. Ooh, don't want me to invoke that name? Well, too bad. And yes, that was for a landline when Reagan started it, because you know what? We didn't have the broad consumer base of cell phones. Now we use cell phones almost on a daily basis. It's easier for somebody to have a cell phone than a landline. But but there are things that, we don't need. I grew up on PBS. That's something we should have. Now I know family members of mine that will vehemently disagree with me on that because they didn't have their children grow up on it. But you know what? There's educational value. We need to be teaching education. We need to be teaching people to think critically. Just you guys have got me so riled up over this government shutdown, that it's just asinine. I also want to touch on the subject of funds while we're at it. Stop taking away people's Social Security until you can replace it. Stop taking my tax money that's supposed to help me in my retired life 30, 40 years down the line from now to fund whatever you need today, to fund whatever you want to do today. We all paid into this, including you, when you worked lowly positions. So you would have an extra benefit there when you retire. Now you've landed this cushy job as a professional politician. Oh, by the way, I also worked for the Federal Employee Health Benefits Program as a customer service representative in a call center. I know your benefits with the Blue Cross Blue Shield plan. Actually, I could probably do a quick Google search and find all of your plans available. But the fact that you guys keep increasing your pay raises while people lower than you don't get anything, maybe a bare minimum COLA allowance, cost of living allowance. Yeah, I don't know. You guys just don't seem to want to work together. You'd much rather bicker, you'd much rather create fodder for the news than you would actually doing your job. So, I will be emailing and twittering my representatives to let them know that I'm interested in a meeting with them. And I hope that they will be watching this video before we have that meeting. I hope that they will share it with the rest of you, the 532 of you that I'm not specifically addressing by name. You know who you are. I don't know your constituents personally. I don't know their living situations. I don't know any of that. But if I'm frustrated, I bet they're frustrated, you know? And I know we the extreme politics that we've gotten into, left versus right, conservative versus liberal, or progressive, or whatever you want to call it needs to end. You know why America was great back in the day? Because even with all of our problems of race relations, equality, things of that nature, our politicians worked together to solve problems. That is not what we're doing. That is not what you are doing. That is a problem. You need to rectify. I was actually going to record this so I could edit it, but I decided to do it on Google Hangouts live on YouTube. So that way I could get a link out there right away to you guys. I want you to stop bickering. I want you guys to sit down and discuss things. I've watched C-SPAN. I know that you guys constantly bicker amongst yourselves over things. When you're doing hearings, it's a tit for tat on nominees, whether they be Republicans, whether they be Democrats, whether it's Republicans controlling Congress or if it's Democrats hold control of Congress. Let's look at these nominees based upon their merit of knowing the subject that they're supposed to be in the position for, not some minute little detail that maybe a scientist should know, that maybe not necessarily a bureaucrat should know. Yes, everybody should be aware of climate change. Yes, everybody should be aware of how we have contributed to that. I get that. That's not a point that I'm arguing here. But expecting them to know the minutest little detail about climate change is not acceptable. Even if they are going to be the head of the EPA or any other branch of anything, Department of Energy. No. They need to understand how their department works and how to budget for that department. So, like I said, to all 535 of you, pull your collective heads out of your butts. Get together and work to solve a problem. Yes, I understand groups of people have a hard time deciding things. I understand that. I'm not saying every plan will be perfect. I don't expect it to be. What I expect from you is to work together to solve these problems and not bicker like little children trying to decide if cheese pizza is better than Hawaiian pizza or pepperoni is better than all of that. I want you to get these programs back running. And, if you have to get rid of some of them, fine. If you have to add something to the program to make sure that only the proper people that need the program are getting the help they need, fine. That's perfectly fine by me. Like I said, Denny Heck, Patty Murray, Maria Cantwell, expect an email from me in the next few days to request when you're next in town that we meet. And if you can't figure out where I live, not that you need to know where I live specifically, but the general area where I live, look up Denny Heck's district. It'll tell you. So, with that, again, dear Congress, dear members of Congress, get to work and get our government back up and running.